I want to introduce you to a tool that I created from years of coaching product people, product managers, product leaders. And often in those coaching conversations, we'll be talking about careers and talking about our next career step. This came from the genesis of knowing that good goals are smart goals. So what I wanted to do was create a framework that you could use in order to clearly and concisely articulate your next career goal as a statement that is also smart. So trying to touch on all of those aspects inside SMART, whilst also keeping it very short and succinct and making it into a statement. So the statement looks like this, and I'll walk through it as we go. So the first sentence is in the next and then a time frame. So this is where we're introducing that time boundness. Now I deliberately put this first because through my early tests and actually trying to test this new framework and iterating on it with product leaders and product managers around the world, I found that time was very necessary up front in order to hone in our thinking. So we would narrow our thinking, because basically what was happening was people were getting convoluted between the next career step and their ultimate long-term career step. So I wanted to put a time frame on it and narrow it down from the get-go, either keep it really broad or bring it in really narrow. The next sentence is, I will some type of outcome at a company. Now, this is all about making it very specific and very vivid. So not just asking, what do you want your next career step to be, but also asking at what company. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be a specific company, but it could be something like at a scale up or at a startup or at a large enterprise. But also a lot of people out there have dreams of working for certain brands and certain companies. And by all means, if that is your dream, put it in there. And if you do have a company in mind, it could even be as simple as my current company. But this is making it very specific and very vivid as well. Am I looking for a role outside of my company? Am I looking for a role in my company? And then what type of company am I looking for? And then what is that ultimate outcome? I'm also very careful to use the term outcome here as opposed to role or job title, because our next career steps aren't always about job titles. We might want to work for a purpose-driven company, and we may not be too fussed about what type of title we get there. Equally, we might also be chasing something different, like financial freedom or flexibility or a remote job. So keeping it as outcome as opposed to a job title or a role just kind of enables or keeps it broad enough for those types of outcomes as opposed to being constrained towards a job title. The next sentence is then, to achieve this, I will. And now we're looking for things like resources, knowledge, skills, things that you need to acquire, things that you know are pertinent and key in order for you to achieve that outcome, whatever that outcome be. This is all about making it relevant and actionable. So we want to start to put things in there. What are those key things that we need to achieve? How does that relate to what I'm doing today? And how am I going to bridge those gaps, right? So we can start to make an action plan, make it actionable, and actually get some value out of it. The next sentence is then, I know this is possible because. And now what we're looking at here is for you to put in things about your past successes, your strengths, things about you personally and the context that you're in that makes this achievable. So we're really honing in on that achievable thing. So making sure that our goals here aren't lofty, aren't too unattainable. We want them to actually be achievable and attainable. We want to make sure that what we're actually putting in here, we can do. What this also does is it helps facilitate your thinking to also think about, well, what is in my context? So what is in my control? And you'll see some of these in the next, in the example that I'll go through in a minute. But it also makes you think about your context. How is it, relevant to that context? It also makes you really play to those strengths. What am I good at? And how can I leverage the things that I'm good at in order to achieve this next step? Now, the last sentence is, I will know I am progressing when, and now we're looking for some kind of lead-in measurement. So again, this is introducing that measurement aspect. What we want to achieve here is to make sure that our goals are measurable and that we don't end up spending all this time trying to achieve our goal and not actually know if we're heading in the right direction. So I've got some examples on this when I get into the example of how this looks, but we're really looking for lead-in indicators. What are things that are going to suggest that you're moving in the right direction? I had a recent, just to give you an example quickly, I had a recent coaching conversation where they were actually looking to get themselves out in the industry more in order to help them get that next career step. And one of the things that they put down here was speaking at an event. Speaking at an event doesn't get you that job, but if I'm speaking at events, it is a leading indicator that I'm heading in the right direction for that person's career goal. So to get into an example next, just to walk you through an example of how this actually can look like. And I've got more examples in the Miro template, but an example is this. In the next 2 years, I will be promoted to head of product at my current company. To achieve this, I will need to focus on bringing product X or product, let's say that they're working on a product and trying to bring it to the market. So bring that product to the market, get that success, get that impact under my belt, and then continue to improve on my ability to manage up. Recognizing that perhaps stakeholder management and managing up is a gap or an area to improve on. I know this is possible because my organization is growing fast. So this is context. Organization is growing fast. Opportunities will arise. I've been promoted to senior product manager and I've been doing it for the last 2 years. So I've been promoted before in this organization. I've been doing the role for 2 years. I'm trying to drive impact and will continue to drive that meaningful impact. So I know this is not unattainable because the company's growing fast. There's opportunity arising. I got promoted 2 years ago. I've been doing that role for a while. For 2 years, I've been making meaningful impact. It's not completely unattainable to get to that next position. I will know I'm progressing when I achieve beyond expectations at least 2 consecutive performance reviews. So because this is in the context of their current company and they're trying to be promoted in it, they can see that if I'm exceeding expectations, at least 2 performance reviews at a time consecutively, then I know that I'm well on track to say, well, hey, I've been exceeding expectations for some time now over the last 12, 24 months. Now I've been a senior product manager for 3-4 years. Let's start to talk about that promotion and that next step. So just an example of how that can look, but this is really a career goal statement. It's a template that you can use. It's been designed not to be the only way to articulate a career goal. It's really been designed to help facilitate your thinking and to help you create and distill your career goal down into something concise and something actionable and really that adheres to that SMART framework. So you're making sure that you are covering off all of those bases. I hope this is helpful. I hope you get some value out of it. For the product leaders out there as well, you can use this in your career conversations with your people. So you can use this statement, walk them through it. You can facilitate a conversation around it, around each of these steps and how that relates to their goal. But ultimately, I hope this is valuable for you and enjoy.